Great Day Houston Hurricane Preparedness Show. And now, here's your host, Deborah Duncan.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Great Day Houston. We are officially in hurricane season, and we want to remind people that no matter the forecast, all it takes is one storm to devastate a community. We saw that last year with Harvey, and unfortunately, we saw a lot of people unprepared because you'd never flooded before or you weren't in that so-called flood zone. So what can you do? Today's entire show is about being ready for the big storm before it's too late. We'll tell you how to protect your home from actually flooding. We'll also tell you how to protect your pets, how to not lose power, and most importantly, how to protect your family. And speaking of family, instead of worrying all night about their safety, how many of you would like this kind of reaction after the next big flood?
The rains come and everything was filling up, and we went to bed. And the next morning, we woke up like at 6 o'clock in the morning, and we're looking at each other and we're saying, oh, we didn't flood, we didn't flood. Are we trying? What happened?
Yeah.
Are we trying? We're looking at the road.
So how come they didn't flood when their neighbors did all around them? Homeowner Maria Grillo found a way to protect her home from flooding thanks to my first guest. Ron Helton with FloodSafe USA is here to tell us how it works. Good morning.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good. This is amazing because so many people, as we know in Houston, you don't know when you might flood, and so we kind of cross our fingers and hope it doesn't happen. There is a way to make it not happen. We'll talk about that in a minute. But first, I want to talk about how you came up with this. After Tropical Storm Allison, a lot of people flooded, of course, and it wasn't a hurricane, and that surprised a lot of folks, but in Houston, it doesn't take much. So after that happened, you got busy helping to guarantee that our medical center didn't flood.
That's correct. I was working for one of the larger architectural firms in the city of Houston, and they were awarded the contract to floodproof Baylor College of Medicine and also MD Anderson Cancer Center. Yeah. And I was a senior project manager on those projects, and we developed floodproofing and structural enhancement technology to floodproof those entire campuses.
Yeah, and I've spoken to the CEO of the Texas Medical Center, and they're proud to say that the whole medical center survived the last several situations where we had a lot of water. All right, you also have done it for other places across the country in other situations as well.
That's true. After Katrina, I went to New Orleans and floodproofed Tulane Medical Center there.
Okay. So you've been able to do that for these big institutions, but you also wanted to bring that home, so to speak, for so many people who just had no idea what to do other than to throw their hands up and leave their homes.
Well, I was advised by the heads of FEMA, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, that the greatest need was not being addressed, and that was the need for residential and smaller commercial projects. And I was asked if I would develop floodproofing technology for that classification of building. And I did, and that's how FloodSafe USA came into being.
Yeah, you take care of small businesses and, of course, people's homes. All right, so tell us how this works.
All right. Initially, the most important thing is for us to get the walls flood-proof. It doesn't make any difference what the exterior wall material would be, brick, stone, stucco, siding of any kind. We can flood-proof that product.
Because a lot of people don't realize water is seeping in from all of that stuff that looks like it's impervious, but it's not.
It's not at all. In
Okay.
fact, it comes in through weep holes as a large place. Of course, it comes through doors.
Yeah, and that's the other issue. So you can provide those flood doors, but what we were able to see when we went out with you on some things is that they don't look like flood doors.
That's correct. In fact, we're the only flood-proofing company in the United States that has a residential flood door that doesn't look like a flood door.
Yeah.
It looks like your normal door.
All right, we had talked to Maria Grillo, who
Yes.
had flooded several times before, and they had actually talked about, should we just do what a lot of folks are doing and selling their homes and just leaving? And so this was their last-ditch effort, and they tried this, and like she said, they woke up the next morning and they weren't stepping in water, and the home was flood-proof, right?
That's true.
Okay, so you go around the whole perimeter of the house as well, because any place that water can get in is what you seal up.
That's correct. We make sure the walls are sealed perfectly, up to a maximum height of 36 inches. That's the limit. And you can have a lake 36 inches deep around your home if we have flood-proofed it comprehensively, and you won't have water on the inside.
All right, so who basically qualifies? Who should call you for this? Anybody? We say people in flood zones, but as we found out, even people who weren't in those flood zones had an issue.
Well, anyone.
Yeah.
Anyone that has a potential flood issue or has flooded in the past, needs to give us a call. And
Yeah.
we'll come out and make an assessment and give them a proposal for what needs to be done.
Especially now with a lot of people who are rebuilding,
Yes.
it's like this is an investment in your home that can certainly pay off. The cost is generally what? I know it depends on the size of the home, right?
It does, but for just doing the walls, it would start typically around $10,000. And it can go up, obviously, depending on the size of the home from there.
And when you look at what you save all of your furniture, all of your memories, which are priceless, like your photos and things like that.
Save everything.
Yeah, and you're not moving out, you're not having to pay rent someplace else while you're rebuilding. All right, and it's less than elevating a home.
Oh, it's a fraction of what it costs to elevate. And we don't change the way it looks. The home aesthetically looks exactly the way it did when we get finished. You can't tell we've been there. And it doesn't take long to do.
How long?
We can complete a project in about a week.
Wow. All right. So if somebody's in the midst of like rebuilding right now, is this a good time for them to have you come in? Or you can do existing homes for sure as well.
It is. They can be moved in. They can be throwing a party inside. and we won't bother them because we're doing our work from the outside with the exception of door and window installations. And that takes about a week in itself. But for the wall work that we do, we're not bothering the inside of the home. They can be living in it, and we don't bother them.
Yeah, all right. Just to let y'all know, Maria was so excited that she said that you are a gift from God, is how she described this man, because you did protect that home that they raised their children and their grandchildren in.
That's true.